دوستای نهایت عزیز، سلام خدمت تک تک شما. امیدوارم جور صحتمند باشین. بازم از طریق چینل انگلیش کلاس به خدمت هستم. البته قسمی که میبینین بخش داستان است و از یونت 11 شما، یعنی کتاب 5 شما، یونت 11 و بخش داستان. خب عزیزایم، پیش از این کلاس آغاز کنیم، فراموش نکنین مثل همیشه چینل حمایت کنین، سابسکرایب کنین، با دوستایتان شیر کنین و اونا هم بتونن از ویدئویی که به خدمت هستم مستفید شوند. خب میریم به طرف کلاس خود، یونت 11 کتاب 5 شما، بخش داستان.
Beethoven's gift.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. به نام خداوند یکتا آغاز میکنیم. Beethoven's gift، هدیه بیتوونز.
Beethoven was a great composer of classical music in the 1800s.
Beethoven was a great composer of classic music in the 1800s. خب آقای بیتوون آهنگساز بزرگ موسیقی کلاسیک در دهه 1800 بود.
Many biographies have been written that narrate his dominance in the music world.
Many biographies have been written that narrate his dominance in the music world. خب یعنی بیوگرافی های زیاده نوشته شده هست که حکایات یا روایتی از تسلط او در دنیای موسیقی داره.
But do you know what really makes him special?
But do you know what really makes him special? آیا یعنی متوجه شدین یا میفهمین که واقعا چی چیزی او را خاص ساخته؟
Even though millions of people got to hear his multiple masterpieces, he never did.
Even though millions of people got to hear his multiple masterpieces, he never did. خب حتی یعنی با وجود ای که میلیون ها نفر توانسته شاهکاری های بسیار زیاده از او بشنوه، اما او هرگز یعنی شنیده نتونست.
Beethoven wrote his best pieces after he went completely deaf.
Beethoven wrote his best pieces after he went completely deaf. و آقای بیتوون بهترین قطعاتش بعد از اینکه کاملا ناشنوا شد نوشت.
His partiality toward classical music developed when he was very young.
His partiality towards classical music developed when he was very young. خب امی طرفداری یا جانبداری یا ترجیح دادنش نسبت به موسیقی کلاسیک زمانی که خیلی جوان بود شکل گرفت.
He wasn't interested in anything else as a child.
He wasn't interested in anything else as a child. و یعنی او در کودکی به هیچ چیزی دیگه علاقه نداشت.
When he was 5, he learned how to play the piano. From then, nothing could stop his passion for writing and playing music.
Okay. When he was 5, وقتی که او 5 ساله داشت، یعنی 5 سالش بود، he learned how to play the piano. او آموخت که چطور پیانو را بنوازه. From then, nothing could stop his passion for writing and playing music. بعد از امو بود که هیچ چیزی نتونست مانع علاقه او به نوشتن و نواختن موسیقی شود. His partiality towards classic music developed when he was very young. He wasn't interested in anything else as a child. When he was 5, he learned how to play the piano. From then, nothing could stop his passion for writing and playing music.
When Beethoven was 20, he began to lose his hearing. He got acute.
When Beethoven was 20, he began to lose his hearing. وقتی که او 20 سالش بود، شنوایی خود کاملا از دست داد.
Spontaneous pains in his ears.
He got acute spontaneous pains in his ears. و او دردهای بسیار زیاد را یا شدید را تحمل میکرد در قسمت شنوایی خود.
His hearing kept getting worse over time.
His hearing kept getting worse over time و امو یعنی با شنواییش با گذشت زمان بدتر شده می رفت.
It was inevitable that he would eventually lose it altogether.
It was inevitable that he would eventually lose it altogether و او یعنی اجتناب ناپذیر بود که او در نهایت اون را به کلی از دست بده.
It was very hard for him to keep writing music.
It was very hard for him to keep writing music و همچنان ادامه نوشتن موسیقی برای او بسیار سخت شده بود.
He lost the virtue of patience and
he lost the virtue of patience یعنی کاملا امو فضیلت یا روش صبر خودش از دست داده بود.
became notorious for his aggression.
And he became notorious for his aggression و او کاملا یعنی در مقابل به خاطر امو پرخاشگریش بدنام شده بود. یعنی از اینکه حوصله‌اش از دست داده بود کلاً بدنام شده بود.
He never stopped trying.
Still he never stopped trying. با وجود هم امو تلاش خود کوشش خود توقف نداد.
His passion for music compelled him to keep performing, even
His passion for musical compelled him to keep performing.
after he went deaf.
Even after he went deaf. خب با وجود هرگز او امو تلاش خود عدس نداد و اشتیاقی که به موسیقی داشت مجبور کرد امو علاقش مجبورش ساخت که او حتی بعد از ناشنوا شدنش به مو اجرای برنامه‌هاش ادامه بده. یعنی حتی که او ناشنوا شده بود بازم برنامه‌های خود ادامه میداد. To keep performing even after he went deaf. And it means this one این معنایش می است که با وجودی که شنوایی های خود دست داد بازم باید امو برنامه های خود ادامه می داد.
He couldn't hear himself play, but he knew that his creations sounded gorgeous.
But he knew that his creation sounds gorgeous. اما او میفهمید که یعنی ساخته های از او همش زیبا به نظر میرسن.
His final concert was held at a huge banquet.
His final concert was held at a huge banquet. یعنی آخرین کنسرت او در یک شام بزرگ برگزار شد.
He gave the musicians a cue and they began to play.
He gave the musicians a cue and they began to play. خب او برای نوازندگان یک سرنخ داد و اونا شروع به نواختن کردن.
He directed the concert with all his heart.
He directed the concert with all his heart. یعنی او تمام کنسرت با تمام وجودش کارگردانی میکرد.
He couldn't hear the music, but he said that he could feel it.
He couldn't hear the music. گرچه که او شنیده نمیدانست موسیقی را but he said that he could feel it. اما او گفت که او را احساس میکرد. او شنیده نمیدانست اما احساس میکرد.
Overall performance was one of the finest in history.
Overall performance was one of the finest in history. خب یعنی اما گفت که وقتی که او اسم کرد به طور کلی امی اجرای از اونا یکی از بهترین های تاریخ بود.
When it was over, he turned to the crowd.
When it was over, وقتی که تمام شد, he turned to the crowd. او بازگشت به طرف جمعیت یا به طرف ازدحام رفت.
They clapped and cheered wildly.
They clapped and cheered wildly. اونا برش کف زدن و بیش از حد تشویقش کردن.
In that beautiful moment,
در لحظه زیبا,
the applause boosted his emotions and he began to cry.
The applause boosted his emotion و همیجا بود که احساساتش تقویت شد and he began to cry و او شروع کرد به گریه کردن.
In 1827, he suffered from lead poisoning.
In 1827, he suffered from a lead poison. و در سال 1827 از مسمومیت با سرب رنج می برد.
He didn't survive the sickness, but his music
He didn't survive the sickness. او از این بیماری جان سالم به در نبرد.
Music did because great music never becomes outdated.
But his music did because great music never becomes outdated. اما امی یعنی موسیقی او زنده ماند. See, but his music did. اما موسیقیش زنده ماند به خاطر که چی؟ Because great music never becomes outdated. به خاطر که بهترین موسیقی هیچ وقت از بین نمیره و قدیمی نمیشه. Even though Beethoven is gone. یعنی گرچه که آقای بیتون یعنی رفته بود یعنی فوت کرده بود.
Will live on forever.
His legacy will live on forever. و امو میراث او و یا امو شهکاریش امو یعنی قطعات تاریخی او برای همیشه زنده خواهد ماند. In 1827, he suffered from a lead poisoning. He didn't survive the sickness, but his music did, because great music never becomes outdated. Even though Beethoven is gone, his legacy will live on forever. خب دوستای عزیز، این بود برنامه یونت 11 شما از بخش داستان و کتاب 5 شما خدمت شما تقدیم کردم. تا برنامه آینده که بازم به خدمت می باشیم، شما رو به خداوند یکتا میسپارم. روز همه شما خوش، خداوند یار و مددگارتان.